So, leveraging AI again here. Just want to give a huge thanks to Adam for providing me with this opportunity to discuss and share my journey. Illustrate some interesting thoughts I have, which will adapt with years to come. Adam is the founder of ImbueIt, an early-stage platform trying to do something great for angel investors and founders alike. To learn more about Adam and his journey, I will leave his link to his podcast. With that being said, it's over to you, Adam.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam, back with another episode. Today, we have our guest, Kamani, who is a 26-year-old angel investor, documenting his journey in angel investing through 17 Nexus. Kamani, let's get into it.
So 26. I've made a few investments already. And I figured that I'm interested in the space, the tech space, and I guess angel investing. So why not just document it all? So came up with 17 Nexus, and yeah, it's out there on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. There's even a Substack and Twitter too. And yeah, just figured document it all, ups, downs, left, right, so my whole endeavor and journey, and do it for quite some time and see how it goes. Yeah, 5 years, 10 years, so on and so forth. And yeah, hopefully one investment does amazingly well. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
There you go. How many investments have you made so far?
So far it's 3 to date. So I actually set a goal of mine as well. But by the end of 2025, hopefully have 15, which is kind of ambitious and crazy at the same time. So 12 left in a weird way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. 3 so far. Funny enough, one's in the States. So I'm based in the UK, or London, UK. My first one was in the States. Second one's actually a British startup, and the third one is all the way in Switzerland. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, geography-wise and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's really awesome. I think you're the first investor we've had so far that actually has done across like a wide veranda of places. What between all those companies, which one has piqued your interest the most, and which one are you like hoping for is your golden egg?
Wow, out of 3 of them already. Can I make a case for all of them, if possible?
Yeah.
The first one, yeah, I was going to say, so the first one is a defense engineering company. They focus on ICEs. So those that don't know, it's internal combustion engines. And yeah, in my humble opinion, forgive me, but I'll be blunt here. As a British person, US spends more on defense than healthcare. And funny enough, Harry Stebbins actually did a podcast. Harry Stebbins is a really, really cool guy in the whole VC space, been doing it for 10 years plus now. And he actually had the co-founder of Andrew on, and just looking at the performance of Northrop Grumman, who else was there? Lockheed, Boeing, and defense contracts and stuff. So it was funny. I heard about them through a newsletter, Morning Brew, and I think like after 2 days of reading that newsletter on my way to work, I just figured to invest. Yeah, tried to influence my friends on my WhatsApp group chat too. That didn't really work, but yeah, pretty cool company. And the reason why I kind of believe in them is understands to some degree the defense space and system in the US really, and how that is very much focused on preventative approach rather than, reactive in a sense. And the technology behind it really. Small company, small entity, growing over time. They've been around ever since 2004 actually. So this is 20 years of them in the space and industry and just working on technology and again. So strongly believe in what they're doing and how they're going about, and maybe they'll get acquired, but that's a big maybe. The second one is the UK FinTech company called Plum, and I use their platform. Their product is really, really cool. And they're shifting now from first originally being like a automated saving platform to now allowing individuals to invest in what you guys would call 401ks or 4IRAs and stuff in a sense. We have ISAs and those over here in the UK. And in a weird way, it kind of ties into the third investment I've done so far. I don't know what it is, but maybe you can probably comment on Adam, is at least my observation in the UK and Europe at least, is the success of fintech startups is interesting in the sense that somehow, give them 5 years or 7 years, they all seem to get traction and lots of users towards their platforms. If it's a credit platform, maybe a saving and investing platform or financial health platform. And then that ties into the third one, actually, which is Selma AI Finance. So think of financial advisors, very costly, very expensive. Would be nice if everyone could have one. Selma AI does the job where it gives you a financial advisor that's an AI bot itself on their platform, and they have about 14,000 users already, and quite a bit of assets under management. I can't remember it, so I won't quote it. But the reason why I kind of like Selma as well is the psychology and sociology of not only making money in Switzerland, but also their behaviors to around investing and saving. And yeah, figured they'll do great stuff too. So I just tied into that one there. So in a weird way, it's only free, but I strongly believe in free, so I can't really single out one. So yeah, hopefully next 7-10 years, all of them do amazingly well and you would benefits of that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be able to look back on this and be like, yeah, we're part of the big names like Lockheed Martin and everyone else. No, that's the goal. So what's been between investing with angel investing so far, excuse me, what has been your most challenging encounter?
Wow. What's been my most challenging encounter so far in angel investing? I think I have two here in a sense. So if you will allow me, I'll probably go through both of them. The first one is so over here we have something called Angels Den, which is a really, really cool entity. They invest in startups, and so it's kind of like a venture capital firm, but they also allow angel investors to come on and startups to pitch and everything. And it's really, really cool, really, really great. And 317 Nexus have connected with lots of builders or founders, I'd say. Adam, you be one of them. But there's quite a few people I'd vouch for too. And when I went to the first relaunch event, I had the game plan or the mindset of going there, going to other angel investors, lots of older people in a sense. I think like north of 40, right? So that's kind of crazy what I expected in the space. Probably had net worth individuals too. And two times I had kind of two conversations with, I guess, angel investors, and both of them in a weird way kind of told me sharp, but not really sharp, but they said, look, what's the valuation of these companies? You know, what's their ARR, MRR, their financial metrics, all that kind of stuff there. And what I noticed there was, I think I probably went about it the wrong way. I should have probably asked them, hey, what industries are you interested in? You know, what have you seen in the past 6 months? You know, what tickles your fancy and so on, rather than just going straight there and trying to pitch 6 or 7 builders to these guys that they don't know. So time, learning that is a key thing, and being more deliberate is definitely a good thing. But what was interesting then, it's still something I'll stand beside, is it's kind of the reason why I started 17 Nexus 2 is that I feel like this space is saturated with people that only care about valuations, metrics, all these kind of stuff and VC jargon, which too you have to understand and respect and play the game by, right? But I don't know, even like the whiteboard, we also had a discussion too, especially Peter Thiel. I think 10 out of 10, this guy will always back Elon Musk and whatever venture he does, right? And it's like, well, why is that the case? Maybe PayPal mafia, but also that, you know, if you bet against Elon Musk, he probably will lose 10 times out of 10. I mean, the guy's gone on from PayPal to lots of great things in many different industries too. And it's like, damn, can he stop? And maybe I'm a fanboy of Elon, but I think he's amazing, great as well, serial entrepreneur. But damn, I've never seen anyone tap into so many spaces and industries and do so many things amazingly well. So, and the reason why I bring that up is maybe more so, I think what angel investors now need to do is, or maybe it's the art of the space as well, picking individuals or founders rather than markets and TAM and all these kind of stuff here, right? Airbnb too, I remember there was a segment where Brian Chesky, and it's kind of the sense of potential and just believing in people, right? So if I'm correct, Airbnb had 3 builders, founders, and the other 2 guys chose Brian to be the CEO. And they, I remember seeing on like Instagram posts, I think earlier this week, and they were like, Brian was like, it's interesting how they decided to make him the CEO and say, you know, you should lead it, you should be upfront and stuff. And it's like, he didn't see that potential in him, but others around him did. The 2 other builders did. And he's saying, yeah, 10 plus years later, still using Airbnb, that's me, and still around doing great stuff. And yeah, so the first challenge I'd probably say is understanding how to approach and engage with other angel investors. Something that definitely caught me off guard, but I also still think they're somewhat naive and a bit closed-minded, but I'll definitely learn to be more palatable towards them. And the second one is actually, God forbid, I'm actually learning it now, a month into this, is learning not only the art of saying no, but understanding which builders or founders you don't believe in and try not only justify but be at peace with like
Mm-hmm.
why you wouldn't vouch in them or believe in them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I've had about 50 interactions or so, mainly through Reddit, funny enough, and through that alone, only about 10 or so builders I would vouch for and still keep in touch with and still talk to, weekly calls, monthly calls, all that kind of stuff there. And it's interesting. Maybe I might refine that number or so, or still get more reps in, maybe reach out to 100 and maybe a few more people and stuff. But at first, I think the excitement was always saying yes, yes, yes. Now a month in, it's kind of like saying more no's is good because then it allows me to give like one of my probably strengths as an angel investor is energy and time to those that are actually doing stuff I'm interested in, but also stuff I believe in as well. So that's been the
Mm-hmm.
second challenging thing. But you only learn that through reps, right? And engagement and listening to people's ideas, having that first initial conversation and be like, you know what, it's pretty cool what you're doing, but I don't believe in it or want to be part of it, which is kind of crazy to say, but yeah. So yeah, those have been my first two challenges so far, really. But love both of them in a sense. You learn so much from them as well.
That's really interesting. So from the first one, you've learned to come for advice rather than to show what you have, if that makes sense. And then from the second one,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's really cool because I think it's interesting you bring up the Brian Chesky part as well because they say in businesses, good leaders pick good systems and then great leaders pick great people. So it is definitely that the human aspect of this of especially why we are looking to build ImbueIt is because we want it to be human centered, human focused. Um, Not so much as the business focus as everyone else is, but it definitely makes sense. So with all your encounters, how has habit building been important and helped you drive your success so far?
Habit building. Work on the weekdays and then probably work on the weekends too. It's funny. Ever since 17X has kicked off, the weekends have just been hours of just talking, calling people, whatnot. And now it's even changing too. So even there's a really, really interesting guy I'm working with in Cleveland actually, and he's focused on an educational tech platform and creating letters of interest and all that kind of stuff there. And actually, going to start send them out soon. So I remember I was using this is a tangent, but I was trying to do like a small consulting gig and the renewable space and actually offering my services to US companies, funny enough. So did a few bit of cold coding, and that was character building. Holy crap, man! You actually end up calling American people, and they actually pick up the phone and say, "Hello, this is the CEO of this and that." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm actually talking to the CEO of a company." But move on from that. It's interesting because I never thought I would actually be helping a builder build in that sense. So in the sense of building, creating loads of interest, and also survey questions too. Both of them I actually need to go through before the end of this week to ensure they're ready to send off for next week from really. And there's actually another founder here as well in the UK where I want to do the same kind of thing. And because she's building the platform and everything, and it's like, well, again, I believe in what you're building and stuff. I really like it. There's any way I can help these kind of small stuff. Pump out like letters of interest to 50 or 100 companies, entities, whatever you want to call them. Just help the builders out in a sense, right? So the first habit is just giving that weekend time and energy to builders in it in any space or capacity, even just having candid conversations with them or more deliberate strategic conversations. And now it's shifting to whenever I have the time or energy as well with the weekends, create or enable what's necessary too. And even to that point as well, finding, well, it's funny, trying to connect other builders with builders, but also seeing if I can find like front end or back end people that want to work on an idea or start up, try pitch to them. If they pass my test or whatever, right? Then bring them to the founders and say, look, do you want to join as a founder engineer or founder member of the team and do that kind of stuff there. So habit wise, yeah, weekends. I know the weekends aren't really chill in a sense for me. It's just another opportunity to just talk to builders, figure out what they're doing and stuff. And yeah, just help in every sense. And it might be a bit candid, but everyone's got the same in 24 hours, all that kind of stuff there. And it goes back to a conversation I actually had with a founder that I'm actually going to hopefully have a catch up with next week in person in London. But we had like a long conversation about creating value or adding substance to society, and you get rewarded for it if it's genuine and authentic. And if you feel like that's your mission or purpose, and I feel like that is for all of us, and serving others as well, that's a big mission for all of us, I'd say, or truth. You will eventually create the habits or systems individually to enable that to happen. And to that point as well, it was funny. A friend of mine from work who actually knows about 17 Nexus and stuff, he's like, Kamani, you're doing a lot of crazy stuff in a weird way. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you're working here in the office and I see the work you're doing in the office, right? But then to know that you're doing all this kind of stuff on the weekend with the calls and trying to build 17 Nexus, all this kind of stuff here, it's like, dude, you don't have any weekend time to chill. And I'm like, well, I actually never saw it like that in a weird way. It just kind of feels like nice, good work to do. Like, this feels, I wouldn't say
Like
natural,
feel
but it
like
definitely
work.
feels like a call on the mind, right? So, exactly, yeah. It's very fun, interesting, and intense as well. And it does consume energy, it does consume time. But then I think the peaceful thing is at the end of the day, when you can go lay down, it's like, and you're going to go sleep, it's like, well, hey, today was somewhat productive and lots of conversations, interesting ones or weird ones. And yeah, you just look forward to Sunday. And then by the time Sunday ends, it's Monday. It's like, well, got to put on a different cap, go back to work and stuff. But you're still thinking about, the builders or having these conversations, follow-ons and all that kind of stuff there. So yeah, passion or obsession, you just find a way to create the habits or systems that enable it to happen. So yeah, and to that point too, the last one I would say is you find a way, right? You use Google, like when I was using Riverside, Google Workspace has been great for me for setting up calendar meetings and stuff, Reddit, Product Hunt, Twitter, Substack, even though I haven't used those yet, I'm still trying to figure out how to, and I will eventually. I'm going to do my first deal memo on Substack as well. You can connect to VCs and builders on Twitter. I never knew that was really a thing, but everyone uses that space now, right? Or X, right? So, yeah, you just find a way if you're obsessed, right?
Yeah. Right now, you're in the season of saying no more than yes. What has been the deal breaker or red flag that you're now seeing in founders that is pushing you to say no?
Was pushing me to say no. There's I think two channels or two, I don't know, let's call it two channels, right? The first one is, forgive me, 0 to 1. I just looked glanced on my desk there, but it's definitely a conversation I want to have more with angel investors too. I feel like you want to be blunt and try to figure out how their brain works, or even VC people stuff, right? But the first one, Adam, there is, forgive me, but I just don't believe in the renewable tech space, right? And this was actually before I read Peter Thiel's book 0 to 1 and then read it, and I'm like, oh, he kind of believes in the same thing too. But we're talking about energy for humanity and everyone else, right? And not only for humanity, this is many aspects. You have the financial aspect of it, trading and all that kind of stuff there, the real aspect too, and also the aspect of, we're talking about defense, right? You're looking at the US Navy alone, the carrier and nuclear submarines are powered by nuclear systems, right? Then you have destroyers, all these kind of things. I don't know what destroyers and stuff are powered by, but jets and, forgive me, M1 Abrams is using a jet turbine engine or so as well in terms of fuel efficiency. So it helps with the supply chain as well for the US Army. That's kind of like a nerd factor. I could be wrong, not nerd factor. I could be wrong, but I think they use one of those fancy engines, M1 Abrams. But look, energy is energy. You need it. We figured out a way to do it. It goes all the way back to Tesla and, electricity, light bulbs, all this kind of stuff here, right? Tesla, well, I mean Tesla, the old Tesla who actually did your findings and stuff, but now Tesla have like the Powerwall for houses. Helps with that too. Solar cells are great and everything too, but until an airplane, this might be so dumb, but until an airplane is fully powered by solar energy, I don't believe in it. Like, even look at human logistics and supply chain too. We're talking about, forgive me, well, it's not even forgive me, but China produces everything, right? Through the economics, before they were an economy, now they're one of the greatest economies in the world, right? Look at logistics, supply chains. Most of the stuff that ends up in the Western world from other parts of the world either comes from airplanes, so the air, or the sea through ferries or the big boats, right?
Mhm.
These channels aren't using solar renewable energy systems and stuff. And it's funny, there's VC firms that actually focus on the space and invest in the space. And hopefully one day I'll be able to talk to either analysts or managing partners, directors of these VC firms to interview them as well and ask them, why are you interested in this space? Because I can't see. I think if you're a VC and angel, obviously there's the money aspect, right? You want to get the returns. How many of these entities are going to go, I don't know, IPO, get acquired? I don't think many will. And to that note as well, Adam, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, no, I don't see it. If we're looking at, forgive me, one extreme I like to use is defense, right? If you're looking at the Air Force as well, Western Air Force, yeah, drones. So I could be wrong here, even, well, liquid piston too. Drones, smaller ICEs, more sustainable, more efficient, more lightweight, and more noise reduction systems. Okay, yeah, but they're still going to use maybe major energy systems we use now, right? Can drones be powered by solar cells? Yeah, but then there'll be limitations to them as well. Maybe operations, how long they can stay in the air for, that kind of stuff. Moving on to bigger aircraft or solar systems, you have jets, helicopters, all these kind of things here, transport vehicles as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm waffling here as well, but I just don't think the climate renewable space is gonna blow up. And maybe to that point too, I'll probably be brave enough and say this is actually very brave, but that industry of space won't add too much value to society, and we'll pass 2100 and nothing will change, right? And that's a bold statement actually. So that's kind of crazy, but I'll stand by it. So 2100 will come. 80, well, many years will pass by, right? 80 odd years will pass by. Well, 70 odd actually. And solar companies, renewable companies, no, they won't go clear. They won't provide the returns, all that stuff there. And
Do you think it's
if I'm wrong, I'll die by that sword there, but I don't believe it. So that's the first one.
That's interesting. Do you think it's like
No,
the
no, go ahead.
efficiency of use aspect, or is it like the use cases, the current use cases in its applications are already it's already everywhere and it's already being used. So how could it even grow even more in value?
That's a very, very good question. And I was actually arguing with myself about this like a week ago. So I actually was actually last week I kind of had the conversation again with myself because of a dude in America actually in the West Coast, California. I was actually talking to, and he's doing a pretty cool startup as well. But I'm like, okay, this is my hypothesis or thesis, right? So this is interesting. That's why I was shocked. Adam, you have financial institutions, early 2000s, 2008. You have city, it even goes before, but back to like 1920s, right? Financial institutions make money, hedge funds, all these kind of guys, right? It's 2024 now. In the US, if you have an Apple phone or iPhone, Apple landed a partnership with Goldman Sachs, so like you guys can do the whole pay transfer, all this kind of stuff. It's a fintech solution, I'd say, right? Shifting it to Europe or UK, like I said, the boom of fintech startups or entities. In a weird way, you're kind of, if you're an angel investor or getting into this space, it's not financial advice, but holy crap, Monzo, Revolut, Moneybox, all these kind of startups, Starling, everyone else, fintech space, right? Have done tremendously well. If there's a new fintech company that starts, invest in one. I don't think you'll be wrong, or they'll be pretty safe. Wild statement to say again, right? But the thesis there that I'm trying to propose here is technological startups versus cemented institutions. And the industry we're talking about here is the finance industry. Look at it as well. What Bitcoin's up to? What 92,000 or so? Those who follow Bitcoin, crypto, that kind of stuff. There, Trump's gone in. Bitcoin's gone to the moon, and all that kind of stuff there.
Pretty high.
But you're looking at old institutions and the old ways of making money, trading, private equity, M&A, all these kind of stuff right here, credit and so, right? Startups are also entering the same financial industry, offering similar services, so probably credit, all this kind of stuff here, loans, everything else. And it's weird. It's almost as if the old breed and the new breed are not competing with each other. One of the biggest cases is Revolut. I think now they have 50 million users or people using their platform. And it's like, bloody hell, Revolut is like, now they actually got their British banking license as well. So it's like, FinTech is actually a bank in the UK, funny enough, right? And they're doing amazing stuff. And they're competing with other banks too. So Citi, all these ones how Chase, you guys will know them as well in a sense. In the finance industry, old heads, new heads, offering amazing solutions, but none of them competing with each other. The renewable space, well, the energy space to be true, right? Old energy companies, Shell, BP, lots of them in America, Chevron, all these kind of guys, right? Old industries, entities in a space. The new ones are entering, so the companies, all these kind of guys here. And the thesis or framework I have for the financial industry can't be applied to the energy industry. And I'm like, well, why is this the case? And I think the answer is, I don't have an answer. Maybe the first thing is, yeah, probably the truth you did say there. Use case. Everyone uses, but it's weird, right? Everyone uses energy. Like here now, I have my PC using electricity. You have your system using electricity too. It's weird. I could explain the financial one. I can't explain the energy one. And you have the old heads, the new heads are coming in. Maybe the old industries have too much power where the new guys can't even provide. And
it's interesting you mentioned that.
I don't know.
I remember
it's an interesting one, right?
It's like it's like you're seeing the what's the word I'm looking for? It means to share a relationship with, but you're seeing brand and innovation kind of paired together and running parallel, but there's no negative attraction between it. For example, us and Startup Engine. Like I've spoken with a few people at Startup Engine, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what you're doing is pretty interesting." I'm like, "Okay, awesome." So it's not as competitive as I thought, but at the end of the day, it's like they're doing what they believe in. I'm doing what I believe in, and as we're running our own races, we're our own horses in the same location, but just running in two different directions. Like we're serving different needs, and I don't know too much about the energy industry, although I have invested in energy transfer a lot. It what you're seeing isn't really it's not competition, but it's like the inflation of like brand compared to what you're seeing with brand and just newer solutions. So it could definitely be more of the innovation side that has been a little bit of hold up with those that are in branding versus those who have been working in it and then are starting their own thing. So who knows? It may actually take something new may actually like come out in the next year or so, or even today, or has been being worked on.
Okay, so let me ask you a quick question there then. Do you think humanity is going to discover a new okay, well, let me correct that. Do you think a startup entity is going to discover a new energy solution or pattern that throws the whole industry into like chaos in a sense in the next maybe 20, 50 or 100 years?
I don't think so. I think the way it's going to work is that we're going to find a use case that has been already done, but has been either not perfected at that time or not taken seriously at that time. Because it's look at the electric car. Nikolai Tesla had worked on that. The issue was the technology of that time, not specifically the idea. So it may be a theory be retested in today's society where we have the technology advancement for it to run as efficiently as it needs to be or as we need it to be, compared to just how it was then where the battery wasn't really researched as much as it is now. And I definitely say it would take time for that to happen. I like to think of it like at one point in time there was stone tablets being shared. Then came the use of paper. Then came the internet, and then came texting and SMS, like things like that. That's how I think of it. As time progresses, we learn and we socialize what we've learned, and then we innovate. That has been the one thing that has always been true, being that we're social creatures and moving in this path of learning, developing, and then just doing that whole cycle of learn, iterate, learn, iterate, learn, iterate, and just continue going on.
Yeah, true.
So it is definitely something that has to be looked at too. Like, it's too quiet of an industry to not know what's going on there.
Oh no, absolutely, and I'm pretty sure give me those VC firms in that space that actually attacked probably know better than me. But yeah, to reinforce that point there, actually, in London we actually use TfL Transport for London and kind of provide transport across London. It's a great service, actually. I would say kind of costly, but great still. We actually have a few buses that use or are powered by hydrogen, and I remember seeing earlier this month too. Hyundai or South Korea or Japan, one of those Asian countries, are actually going about making the first ever hydrogen tank K3. So instead of it being fueled by
Toyota
normal fuel, it's going to be fueled by hydrogen. So that is, I'm pretty sure it's Hyundai, but the K3 tank, and it's going to be and it's going to be completely hydrogen. And it's like, well, hey, you make a hydrogen tank, it's hard to see through thermals and all that kind of stuff there, energy-wise, that's good enough too. And probably to counter what I said, or even answer the question I proposed to you as well, if this hydrogen push is real and it does work out, then yeah, maybe you're seeing it both in the normal individual public case, but also in the defense case as well. And I think there is a truth there that humanity has always found a way to learn, iterate, try, fail again and again and again. And in a weird way, we're persistent. Maybe there's one person out of the 8 billion of us who's persistent to find a new energy solution or something that will save the world in that capacity and sense. And it's so weird. I don't know, but I still want to stand by what I said. That you're looking at an industry where it's fine with old guys, powerful guys, that being Shell, BP, all those kind of entities there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can they find technology or create technology where it throws them off completely, where it's like, whoa, these guys are doing amazing stuff, providing new energy solutions to mankind, right? Maybe, yes. Out of necessity, absolutely. For survival, I think they'll succeed. The energy startups, in a sense. But for business wins and all that kind of stuff there, no, it's going to be a time game with everything, right? And it will take a lot of time, maybe north of 100 years, I'd say, and I'll still stand by that.
Yeah, let's definitely see how that goes. I know there was during COVID, there was a company that was being invested in by a lot of senators, and it wasn't really spoken about openly. I think it was called Micro V or something like that. I'll definitely have to look back at it and share it with you. But just learning about the investments going on in the field, it's interesting that you don't really hear about them as much as you do. Like, let's say, a new AI startup is just launching, like compared to a new hydrogen fuel cell company just launching.
Sure.
Which one do you really get the more do you hear more about? It's going to be the AI. Yeah. So it's definitely something that has to have eyes on, for sure. What would you say? So for your thesis, can you tell us a little bit more about your thesis in terms of angel investing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, say that again, Adam, if you can.
Yeah, I was saying, what can you tell? Can you share us what your angel investing thesis? Um, yeah, like, what is your angel investing thesis?
Damn, now if I show my secrets of my playbook,
If you're okay with
yeah,
sharing
you'd be
it.
amazing with great what I do, right? No, I'm joking. I'm joking, man. But what is the thesis or playbook? Mm, definitely not investing in renewable entities. That's one. Um, an appreciation for psychology and sociology more than other angels, but also probably other VC people too, because that's the crux of it, right? When you invest in a startup. Um, I think I was reading Jason Cowell's book, and it was a deal memo. Someone from like a reputable company actually did a deal memo, and for those that don't know, deal memos are the kind of the sense where, hey, look, there's a startup. I'm gonna go invest in them. A deal memo is something you write to basically reinforce or illustrate your thesis or hypothesis, saying, look, this is the customer acquisition cost, this is the time, this is the market, can they break it, all this kind of stuff. You basically build up a small article or research paper that reinforces why you wrote the check and stuff in a sense. And I can't
Mhm.
remember who it was or who the startup was. It was either YouTube or Netflix. And funny enough, when the person was writing the deal memo, they also listed reasons as to why the startup will fail or whatever. And the last line at like the end of it, or so, I'm paraphrasing her in a sense. With that being said, I'm still invested in this company. And it's like, yeah, the thesis, believe in the founders. Everyone says product market fits and all these kind of stuff. And mm, well, that is true. Obviously, you have to have a product to fit the market. Well, is that really true? Maybe this is a conversation I'm going to have with other people as well along my journey, right? Product market fit. That is that you create a product and it goes to fit in a market. I don't know, if we're being real here or observing history itself, the past 24 years of technology, right? The greatest entities, maybe, in my opinion, created their own market. Um, it's debatable. What can counter that is
Well, I mean,
Blockbuster and Netflix, right? Blockbuster was around. Netflix came around too, trying to do the same thing. And then they had to go the technology route. But yeah, go ahead.
no, I definitely agree with that because it was Henry Ford who said, our customers wanted a faster horse. We just built them a car. And look at Ford today. It's one of the most famous car manufacturers around. So it could definitely be argued, but I personally think it is definitely the innovation side of it. It's you testing what you know and providing it to an area of people who have been doing it for so long that there's a little less creativity um, on their end, but you being new to the area, you seeing outside the
Mm-hmm.
box, you're able to provide a better solution, which is why I think it personally for me, I think it's important for a lot of founders, especially who have been in a market for so long, to take a step back and to look outside of what's working in other areas. For example, fashion. I forgot what car company it is, or electric bus manufacturing company it is, but they have taken the approach in fashion and textiling and applied it to their vehicles and were able to make a much more durable frame for their vehicles at a lot less of the cost. And seeing
Hmm.
that, taking the
Interesting.
innovations in other areas and applying it to what you know. I think it was even Alex Hormozy said this, that he likes to take what worked or what he found interesting and helpful in other industries and apply it to his own. And that has just maximized his success. So it is definitely something that founders should look into. Just taking a step back and being aware
That's
of what's
interesting.
out there.
Huh. Can I be provocative here? I'll be provocative. I'll be brave and provocative. The
Yeah.
first point is actually Ford is interesting. Ford's an interesting company too. Yep. You think of America, you think of Ford. Well, Ford should hopefully come to your mind one way or another. Their financials and performance over the past years and their lack of maybe focus is interesting too. But still a great company. You can't dispute it. They have a great history and track record. Many fail and bust, but they're still around. But
Yeah, the brand is amazing.
oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that. The visibility and stuff works out as well. And the point you brought up on fashion is pretty interesting too. I think it's Moncler acquiring Burberry. So Burberry is a British fashion company and stuff. And I'm like, that is so interesting. Why is that the case? Where everyone knows Burberry for the trench coats, but you look on social media and platforms, and so everyone's like, Burberry's losing their touch and finesse. They're not really staying true to what they did. And it's like, damn, maybe that's the case. But the market idea as well. And that's why I think maybe believing in the founders is better than anything else because, well, it's weird. We probably have a short conversation on it. I think one thing that is true is the masses. If you can, I think it was Eric Schmidt or Reid Hoffman that said it, but if you can, they're investors too, and they tend to invest in startups where they believe that if the entity or the group of founders or whatever is building a product that is going to affect the lives of millions of people, they will choose to invest in it, right? Going back to the market thing here too, Apple. Let's look at Apple, right? Early days of Apple, and so what is Apple going to do? What were they going to try to do? What they could have gone down the computing route and competed with Dell, Intel, all these kind of guys, and so on and so forth. But Steve Jobs, being who he was, takes his time, plays the long game. And 2007, I think it was the iPod or whatever, and then the iPhone comes out, all that kind of stuff there. And now I have two iPhones that I possess, and everyone probably has a lot of Apple products. Apple created its own market for phones, and yeah, if you're looking at the past 20 years, the evolution of phones alone says a lot. There was a time period where BlackBerry, the small little box ring with like the funny digits or so, owned the phone industry or space in a sense. But it's weird. Airbnb, hotel industry has always been around, right? Airbnb, the idea that you can rent out your space or not even your bedroom or even your house as a self-service accommodation, whatever, for individuals. And that works. That becomes a business. Uber's interesting, especially with Britain, right? We have the black cabs, TfL, amazing public networks, cycle lanes, all this kind of stuff here. Taxis, and I'm pretty sure, when Uber came out too, there was a lot of pushback from taxis saying, hey, these guys, what are they doing? They don't have license, insurance, all this kind of stuff. Hey, can they legally provide a service? Can a random dude download Uber on his phone, maybe pass a few test drives and become a driver and make money, all that kind of stuff in a sense? What else is there? LinkedIn. You're looking at how many professionals around the whole world, and it probably reinforces Eric Schmidt or Reid Hoffman's point as well. Lots of professional workers in the world. How do they connect to each other? Well, Mark does Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Then I'll go into the Facebook conversation too, especially his acquisition of Instagram, for what I've seen from social media. But yeah, you just create a platform that connects many professional people, and you can have VCs, lawyers, insurance people from different parts of the world have a quick conversation with each other, probably provide the services and so on. Yeah, more efficiency, all that kind of stuff there, networking, and maybe now I feel like LinkedIn's becoming more of a TikTok, Facebook space rather than staying professional in a sense. But again, affecting the lives of a million people. All the platforms I mentioned, it's debatable if they create their own markets. I would say they have, in a sense, because now Uber's competitors Bolt and Harry Stebbins actually did a great guy, man. Shouldn't be glazing, but Greedy Ray BC. He actually had a conversation with the founder of Bolt, and Bolt's basically a European version or twin of Uber in a sense, and they're now worth billions and so. But the taxi service got disrupted. I didn't like using that word, but it got revolutionized. Funny enough, now Black Cab is actually on or the black cabs in London are actually now on Uber in the UK. So if you have the app here in the UK, you can hail a black cab through Uber's app, which is actually pretty amazing. Airbnb is revolutionizing now, where they're offering experiences more than ever. Apple, well, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen Apple is offering the whole AI intelligence stuff in a sense, because AI is the buzz and stuff. And yeah, well, Google went down search engines and done it amazingly well compared to others. And to that point too, to reinforce the hypothesis, it's weird. You have to observe society and practices and understand, and maybe even play the game of luck, but also be able to tell the future, right? Back in the day when computers first came around, Dell, Intel, these guys had a chokehold in the industry, right? If you wanted to bet a laptop, Dell was a safe bet to get a laptop. Now, Intel and Dell are struggling. Nvidia and so AMD are coming in. All these entities are coming in, taking over the space too. And it's interesting. If we're talking about my hypothesis and framework, it's the psychology of builders and founders again. I said it earlier. Betting against Elon Musk, it seems like you're going to lose, right? The guy's in SpaceX, he's in space, electrical vehicles. Now X, Twitter, it's like, bloody hell, this guy's in so many different vehicles. Respectfully, I don't know, he's him, but he's a weird him as well, in a weird way. But Peter Thiel, many other people, the OGs in the space, will close their eyes and write a check for him, right? All these other builders too. Steve Jobs is gone now, but Bill Gates, all these guys here. I think those are the two aspects of my framework so far is the psychology of the builders. Now, even when I talk to them as well, or I have my first initial call with them, right? I ask very interesting, deep psychological questions, which are sometimes kind of crazy too, but it allows me to see their creativity and mindset and also how they view the world and society, right? And I feel like if I ask those kind of same questions to Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all these kind of people, they'll probably give interesting answers too. The second aspect is it would be nice if they are in an industry. I'm just kind of counterintuitive to what I said there, or kind of goes against it. But maybe I'll be great at it one day. Maybe give me 10 more years, right? But the three companies I've invested in now are in industries I understand, but also see predictable. I'll use the word predictable. Maybe there's a better word. But in the next 10, 15 years, I have a strong idea that those industries are going to welcome change and have to, right? Liquid Piston, the defense company in a sense, drawn from the conversation with Harry Stebbins and the co-founder of Anduril.
Mm-hmm.
The Ukraine crisis or conflict now more than ever has shown that, look, munitions is a big thing. And we're in a day of the missile age, right? Whoever has the most missiles wins. China's missile defense and systems, covering almost all of Asia, is second to none. And it's like, well, you have Japan and South Korea and Okinawa and a few naval bases there and the Philippines and stuff. Well, it's like, well, all due respect, if you're going to move the Pacific Fleet or the US Navy or even NATO's Navy through the Pacific to get to that region, right? Mm-hmm. There's a good chance China is able to create lots of missiles and take you out of the straits and in the oceans. Different conversation, right? But yeah, so the technology, innovation, and creativity and boldness in the defense space, hopefully we don't have to use it in no World War III, right? But it's just evolution at its finest, And reinforcing my hypothesis of the FinTech space, and maybe it's a user case too, like we discussed earlier. Everyone's trying to become better and more knowledgeable about money, right? Mm-hmm. All the institutions are changing their ways and becoming a bit better at it, I say. But FinTech solutions are able to say, hey, look, we can help you become a better investor. I mean, look at the success of Coinbase and Robinhood, right? As an American, but I'm pretty sure lots of Americans love these platforms too.
Oh, yeah.
FinTech solutions, no? And even the founder of Robinhood was talking to Harry Stebbins, and he's like, "Look, we might see another transfer of wealth from baby boomers to Gen Z." I get these things wrong so badly, right? But it was about 70 trillion or so. And if Robinhood, hopefully that generation stuff is correct, but if Robinhood
That's
can get
actually
like
happening now.
5-10% of that wealth transfer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. See, and it's like, well, hey, invest for Robinhood, invest in Nvidia, AMD, or options trading. Trading's interesting, yes, up to you, or just save it in a high yields account and stuff. Don't give your money to Chase, give it to us. In Europe or UK, don't give your money to HSBC or NatWest, give it to Revolut, Monzo, right? Or Wise and all these kind of guys here. Why? The consumer has more choice. Everything's on the phone. You can download the app and create an account in like 2 minutes, right? And order a card straight to your house. Yeah, well, maybe that was a great technological shift, and maybe it was something we're talking about, right? We're both in our 20s. From 2000 to 2024, first you had wallets. Wallets had paper money.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 2024, early 2000s, right? You had wallets, paper money. 2024, no one carries cash with them. Everyone has cards. Everyone pays Apple Pay or contactless. Technology maybe drove that, and maybe that's why it's natural for fintech companies to succeed and enable that to happen, because now you can have multiple cards to increase your safety and all that kind of stuff there. Don't want to go on a tangent, but I think the hypothesis question is a good one. Maybe in my waffle, I still have an early hypothesis or framework that definitely will be learned and refined over time, right? So the purpose of 15 investments by 2025 is to enable it to become better, become good. Industries I will avoid is renewable with an arm's length. Industries that do intrigue me though is consumer packaged goods and e-commerce, right? And I still can't understand them, but I follow this one on Instagram too called Yeti, and all they do is just, like if you go fishing or hiking or whatever, or camping, you carry like big containers that can carry products or like freeze them and all that kind of stuff there. They have millions of followers, Adam, and it's just that one product. I'm also following these sisters as well. They're doing sisters matcha, and I'm following them to see how they'll do, right? Just like to mirror and see how amazing they do it. And it's exactly what they say on the tin. Matcha straight from Japan to the households and individuals of America. They'll advertise that and market it really, really well, hopefully, where people just consume it. And yeah, matcha has lots of health benefits and everything and stuff. And I think the CPG space, or consumer packaged goods space, is interesting because consumers consume, but there's a whole supply chain, logistic things, all these kind of stuff, and it actually costs to move from supply straight to your doorstep, right? Even now, there's ready prep meals, and this industry's blown up to it. It makes sense and it doesn't in a weird way, but time and energy, so I should take that back, it does make sense. And health, all these kind of stuff as well. So from my experience so far is 3, defense and fintech. Well, 2, defense and fintech. Other industries intrigue me because somehow they work and somehow people just naturally draw to these. But the reason why I say that as well is if you can understand human psychology and sociology, these things make sense. Now more than ever, technologies, you can have an Oura Ring or Apple Watch, whatever. You can see your health on your phone and then click, right? Fintech space, yep, again, through your phone, you can see your financials and all that kind of stuff there very easily without going on the phone or going to the bank, energy and time stuff, right? So, maybe there's another gem here too as well in conversation. If you can, well, it appears to be the case, right? Well, not even that, even me feels so calm. Daniel Kahneman said, RIP Daniel Kahneman, paraphrasing his book, was one of the first things I read in this book that kind of blew my mind. Laziness is a human currency. And despite how amazing or great you are, if you're LeBron James or so, you might be lazy in one way or another. LeBron James doesn't cook his own food, right? He has chefs or a team of chefs that cook his own food, right? Which enables him to be great at probably at training and stuff. Daniel Kahneman said, or paraphrasing, is human laziness is a currency. And I'll take that and probably repurpose that, saying if a startup or entity can tap into that human laziness, taken from Eric Schmidt also, whoever said it again, serve millions of the masses, and then enable them to become more efficient or creative or productive, then there's something amazing there, really. So maybe that's another gem there too. If a startup can do all those kind of 3 things, and I'll
I
learn that through
definitely
conversation,
agree.
hopefully, and just seeing how the startup or group of guys work. And yeah, bloody hell, that's an interesting question, Adam. Had me thinking just through conversation. Apologies there.
No, no, no. That's what we're here. This is a conversation, but I definitely agree. If you're able to save someone time or save an emotion, you can definitely profit, and it also becomes a pain point. And back to your point about psychology, I remember reading Peter Thiel said, look at the things that don't change, that do not consistently change at all. Um, for example, our want to do things better. Um, you can literally start a company off of just that, trying to find more innovative ways to pretty much hack your environment to the way you want to. Um, with focusing on psychology, you're able to see how people will likely act
Hmm.
based off of the behaviors that they have now and how they change the behaviors or if they keep the same behaviors. So I think that's a very powerful thesis that you're working
Wow.
on, especially because with what we've built and what actually separates us isn't exactly our system of reciprocity. It's that we're focused on people growing. And if we could provide growth and help people save time through other means by focusing on their growth, this system of ImbueIt is what's going to help them build. It's going to help them find the connections that they need. It's going to help them be able to prosper in ways that they couldn't without human capital. So it is definitely something to. It is definitely something that will bring high return. So yeah,
It
uh,
should attract attention, right? Yeah. I mean,
there we have it. So what's your long term
oh
outlook
yeah.
for? Continue. Actually, you were saying
Oh
something.
no,
Go on.
no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
That's the question.
yeah.
No, no, I
So
wasn't. No, no,
what?
no. You're good. You're good.
So what would be your long term outlook
The long
for
term.
angel investing? Like, how do you think that's gonna how that will the economy will change for that? The
Hmm.
dynamic, excuse me.
Long term outlook. I have two answers to this. Yeah. I think the first truth is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20. Grow 17 Nexus out to be a great space or entity in and of itself, right? And have more conversations with amazing people, do more amazing things, connect with more amazing investors, builders, so on and so forth, and hopefully make some amazing, great returns along the way too. And that'll be very nice. But yeah, just be a voice in the space and empower other people to. Well, it's interesting. Financial advice, angel investing, don't do it. It's risky, right? But it's like at the same time, why not? You know, what kind of story would you want to tell your kids or, the random person you meet in the park in the next 20 years? And to that alone, I kind of joke about it and say, well, I had two big regrets, right? The first one is not buying the house in 2008, but I was a bloody small kid. He's still doing high school stuff. So it's like, well, I don't have the capital funds to buy a house in 2008. And then the second one is when I was building my gaming PC, which I still use now, right back in 2018. It's an NVIDIA GPU and an AMD CPU, right? And it's like, huh, would have been cool if you invested £1,000 in both of those companies, NVIDIA and and then you learn a bit more. Now, 2016, that's the first time. What was it, Jensen or so? 2016 or 18, Jensen handed off one of the H100s or one of like the newest chips to Sam Altman for OpenAI, but I didn't even know anything about that stuff back then, right? And also to Elon Musk. It's like, well, come on, you're a bloody idiot. You should have invested in Nvidia back then, right? But what did you know? Nothing. So you missed out on 8 years of amazing returns and stuff, right? But yeah. But
It's interesting you mentioned that too. It's it's now looking at where we're going as far as what's the big thing now. Because now where everyone's looking at Bitcoin, yeah, but what's leading after Bitcoin? You know, there's going to be I believe this, that there's going to be a centralized currency that's digital. Of course, that's going to be the way everything becomes more seamless. And it's just something that will happen.
It's a weird one, yeah. Even with the whole digital currency, it's again we have the old institutions or practices and fintech, but now you have a whole new bloody vertical, which is blockchain and crypto, right? Or cryptography in that sense. And there are use cases which actually proves its existence, funny enough, and the technology alone is amazing, I would say, actually, when you start doing your own individual research to understand it a bit more and stuff. And yeah, you can transact, you can send money on the blockchain to loved ones, all that kind of stuff there. Humans have actually carried out transactions for that as well. So if you want to buy land or whatever, and the person who's selling is willing to accept Solana or Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, and you have it, yeah, that's a transaction that can be completed. So yeah, and I remember when I was younger, younger, but I'm like, dude, what the hell are these things? You know, little crypto and all this kind of stuff. It makes no sense. We have cash money, or what is this, right? And fast forward to 2024, it's like, well, my mindset shifted, and yeah, there's use cases for that as well. So technology aspect of that is pretty interesting. No,
what your long-term outlook would be of not just angel investing, but also 17 Nexus.
17 Nexus, more conversations. Hopefully, have 1,000+ episodes and maybe an incubator as well. It's kind of crazy to say, but well, definitely demo days. Demo days will be nice, but yeah, just connect to more builders, more investors, and more just people and stuff, and just have the energy and time to just have the conversation with them, right? I'm a big believer and optimist, funny enough, and maybe Ray Dalio and Peter Thiel and others would disagree, but big believer in humanity and what we can do in a sense, and yeah, if you can serve and enable others to do amazing, great stuff. It's very much a candid conversation I had with myself, and I look on my board now, right? Lots of the people on my board, Bao Ravikant, Peter Thiel, and Jason, so on and so forth, they built companies and sold them, right? Am I going to build a company and sell one? I don't know. I don't think so, really. I kind of like having my peace of mind and stuff. But if I can do a great job, like Esther Dyson and a few others, and pick the right entities and startups, invest in them, and then you develop a thesis of doing that again and again, getting them more reps, and do that for 5, 10 years, 15 years, amazing reps as well. I think there's also VC people that haven't created a company or started one, or built one and sold one, right, and then started a VC company. But just enable others and help others, really. I think that's the crux of it all. Would be nice, again, if companies are invested and give me returns and stuff. Would be amazing. I kind of want to do that. I think that's why I'm also doing this. But also at the same time as well, just meet amazing people, have amazing, great conversations, learn, and play the long game in this, really. And who knows, maybe one day, definitely fingers crossed, I'd like to see, an ambition of mine is to go stateside, Silicon Valley, leave London because of all of its bloody rules and regulations that make angel investors, but also startups ecosystem here stifling and tough.
Yeah.
Like we have capital gains tax here, right? And now it's been pumped up to 24% or so, and it's like, bloody hell, if you create a company in the UK, you are so disincentivized to shut it down within 6 months or not even raise any capital or funds and so, because yeah, now more than ever, it's harder for VC funds to raise and everything, especially, well, COVID itself was probably the hardest period, especially startups too, then couldn't really raise any money as well, because like everything shut down, right? But if you come to the UK, or you start a company in the UK, and respectively, if you can do it in the UK, then you can do it in the EU. If you can do it in the EU, doesn't mean you can do it in the US. My observation is no. But yeah, Silicon Valley, despite its ups, what it's known for and what it's really bad at, infrastructure and all that kind of stuff, then homelessness being one of them, it's where the tech hub space is. And I read Jason Jason's book, Jason Cowell is one of the best angel investors, I'd say. He did turn down his investment opportunity in Twitter, so that's a good learning book actually, and that's pretty cool to learn from. But he said, look, if you want to be an angel or VC or founder, do you have to relocate to San Francisco? And I think it was just one page. Should you relocate to San Francisco? One word answer, yes, or something like that. And I think I saw it twice in the book. I'm like, damn, Jason, chill, because the world's kind of big, but maybe in the long term, 10, 15 years, go over there and see what it's like. I was talking to, again, that dude from California or whatever, and he said, man, the over here is over there is amazing, right? And here in the UK now, it's like winter. It's like 10 or 11 degrees if you're lucky. But yeah, so yeah, just add value, enable other people, and hopefully have the opportunity to relocate to the States. But we'll see what time says, yeah.
That's interesting.
Right, so I think well, funny enough, I'll actually you're asking about my framework or hypothesis, right? Especially when picking founders and builders, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can toss you a question that actually like asking them, and
Yeah.
fingers crossed. Well, you have to be genuine, right? If you're not genuine, then it'll be interesting, and hopefully I'll see it. But Adam's a genuine guy, and the question here I'm going to ask you is a case, right? So let's say you're the president of a country, and you have I did say 20. So yeah, let's stay with a 20-year. Well, from what I read, the person said 20-year period, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're given 20 years to eradicate all prisons in that country. You're the president, so you have authority, governance, all that kind of stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
How does Adam, the president Adam, get rid of prisons in his country in the space of 20 years' time? It does force you to think, yeah.
That is the best question I've heard so far. Let's see how I would eradicate prisons.
It also kind of ties into, well, it shows me a lot about how the person who's answering it views human psychology and sociology too. But yeah, no hints, and I'll let you crack on. Good luck.
I'd focus on
I'm
culture
trying to think
first.
what Adam would say, but I'm not even sure he would say myself, to be honest.
But let me ask you. You said no hints, no questions, right? No hints, no questions. Kimani, can you hear me?
No hints. No hints. No.
Got it. Personally, I think.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. No hints. No nothing. You just got to try answer it.
All right. I think it's not possible to eliminate all evils or prisons. There are going to be situations where you do need prison. For example, trying to revise the way prison is, whereas instead of making it a dungeon, try and make it something that's more community development focused. For example, I believe it's Sweden, if I'm not mistaken, or Switzerland, where people who have done wrong go to prison and actually come out better than compared to the U.S., where prison in the U.S. is a game, a business. Instead of having it focused on what not to do, have it focused on what needs to be done, in terms of using it as a system of psychology to revitalize a better human being in someone else. You could always try to build someone better than you found them. And again, that goes back to just being a good leader. A great leader is building better people from how you found them, or building on top of what is already there. You don't want to, there are times where you have to have someone someone needs to start from the very beginnings and work their way up. So I'd say providing that system where if I were to take away all, well, not take away all prisons, I would just revitalize how prisons are in terms of providing better or more thoughtful education, more ways that they provide for society in ways that they are needed rather than, and teaching them the mindsets, improving their mindset, because that's kind of where it all starts, is what they've learned to how they were able to contribute and how their contributions are also looked at. I guess that's where I would start. Is the culture of it, is the culture of prison.
The culture of prison. You'll start the culture of prisons. I'm trying to think, are you the first person to say that? Yeah, no one else that I've spoken to really says they'll start with the culture of prisons. So, that's interesting, Adam. So, in your domain or sphere, you would still keep prisons, but you'll change them in a sense. Am I correct to say that?
Yeah, I wouldn't do. Not everything is considered an incredibly bad thing. I would say taking the harmfulness of prisons, being not rehabilitative and just being, I would call them dungeons, dungeons of punishment instead of dungeons that do that correct. We need more correction than we do segregation. That personally, I don't think it makes sense to have a prison that just locks up people and then keeps them in the same horrific or makes them burrow down worse than them going there initially the first day. I'd rather have a system where people go in. Of course, they are bad. You can't always fix everyone, but developing them in a way that from the bottom, that they're able to become better and more contributive, more steward, I'd say would make more sense.
Very interesting. I really like this question. I'm going to keep holding on to it and using it because
Definitely, because
everyone gives different answers and different insights.
I might use that in my interviews, actually.
No, go ahead, man. Yeah, go ahead. The purpose of the question is well, there's many purposes. Like I said, the main one is really show how the person views society and stuff in a sense. Like, I think there's a truth. There's good and bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't avoid that and all that kind of stuff there. So the first thing of that question, it kind of stumbles users like, well, to answer it, do I accept truths to be what they are, or do I make my own truths and stuff in a sense? And I'll give you an insight to a conversation I had with someone, a young founder as well, builder, and 19 actually. The person's 19, based in Texas, and they said they'll execute people actually. Those who with like the most worst cases or so, in like the upper percentile or something like that, in a sense, like the most extreme cases. They'll read through the cases, all that kind of stuff, yada yada yada, and execute them. Yeah. So if you commit like the most worst felonies and crimes, they'll execute them. I'm like, What was interesting there is probably one of the youngest people I've met, second youngest person actually building also in a sense, had a really good logical framework and approach to the system or how they'll tackle the case. And I was like, okay, very interesting. And then they just dropped that bomb and I'm like, I've asked many people this question, right? You're the first person who said they'll actually execute and kill humans. And during that conversation, and well, more so the lecture, him talking, right? I'm like, is this good or bad? His answer. But then I'm like, well, I can't be one to judge because I still have my own answer to that question. But yeah, no one else has said it so far. You're the first person to only say they'll focus on the culture. And other people have nudged to it in so in a sense, but they went through other loops and hurdles, and then they said then they'll try change the culture and stuff, but not even the culture in the prisons, but culture in other practices or spaces of humanity. But yeah, interesting answer to that question. So thanks for that. Thanks for that insight.
It's interesting you asked that, because it's either, yeah, I could say total genocide does work. I'll admit that truth, but what happens after that? That's not. You could either rule by respect or rule by fear.
It's a weird one, right?
Yeah. You need to accept it.
That's one of the things that came into my head, and I'm like,
No, you definitely need to accept it.
Yeah. So I guess with that, leading on to that there as well. What's I'll ask you 2 more questions before we, I guess, close up or wrap up. So the first one is what's one thing you hold to be true that others around you don't see true? It's like, whoa, Adam, are you really sure that's a truth in society or whatever you want to call it, right? So what's one thing that's true to you that others around you disagree with, or is like, oh, that's a bit of a surprise?
I'll definitely, it's been my life. So I would say being a non-expert in a field surrounded by experts that are competing against you. Or you at least feel that they're competing against you. And I say that you can still succeed regardless, because when someone has years of experience against you, you being willing to learn, you being willing to put in the work, and being willing in general defeats that. And I found that to be true in not just being what I'm doing now, but also looking at how that has been proven to be a big debate, whether you need to be an expert among experts or the novice who's willing to learn against experts. And I think people place a lot of importance on someone being an expert than someone who's willing to learn. And I think it's okay to fail. I personally think it's okay to fail, especially with having run a previous business and learning how that failed, running a second business, learning how that failed. And this actually being the first business that I've been seeing noticeable success with, has definitely shown me that learning to build and continue building is what helps you more than just not say helps you more, but also helps you and allows you to succeed just as much as being an expert.
Yeah. Persistence and a willingness to just keep going at it again and again, get more reps in. Those that find a way and keep doing it, play the long game and eventually crack the code. So, and yeah, everyone's like, oh, you're lucky and so, but it's like, well, stuck with it for 10 plus years, tried other stuff, whatnot. I feel like this is the thing that broke, and yeah, so I'd agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
In a sense. And the next question, that's one big truth. If you persevere, you'll find a way. I guess the next question I have for you then is, and the final one is I have like a case or locker of questions in the back of my head that I just draw from and ask people, but I'm trying to be creative on the spot here. What is one thing that others around you find to be true but you disagree with? So to give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Others around me, I would like to say, believe that this might be controversial again. Well, like I said, the whole climate renewable space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Others around me believe that, investing and pushing this climate agenda and whatnot is good and stuff in a sense. And my opinion, it depends on the approach. And again, it's a deeper conversation and stuff, but I'm just giving you an example of how to answer this question again. The question is, others around you believe in one thing and you just somehow disagree with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I brought up earlier in this conversation as well, but the whole climate renewable space, I believe in it because I believe in humanity. But then, like I said too, will I invest in it? No, because I don't see the use case or the blow up opportunity for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's even funny too. When I went to like a few pitches, when I went to the Angels Den first pitch, there was an entity there, startup there, pitching for cigarettes and their butts and so, making it green and, well, this is not even renewable, but renewable in a sense and so,
Mm-hmm.
and sustainable and everything. And the first 10 minutes of the pitch was trying to, I didn't even think of storytelling, but also trying to push a green agenda and a sustainability agenda right down your throats and that into your cranium and all that kind of stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, again, drawn from Daniel Kahneman, humans are, if you can tap into our laziness or how we just make things easy and basic for us to understand, you win, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they shoot themselves in the foot, and taken from Peter Thiel's book 0 to 1 here. All these entities in the climate and renewable energy space and whatnot are pushing a social agenda rather than a business agenda, right? And the social agenda they're pushing is, we're green, we're going to save the world, this, that, tower. So VC firms, well, we want to raise 500 million or like 50 million or 10 million. So it's like, whoa. If you're a VC firm, surely your alarm bells must be ringing. It's like, well, respectfully, I mean, VC firms, again, I think some of them are seagulls, but some of them also can provide tremendous value.
Mm-hmm.
They only care about acquisition and IPO, right? Or the return of their money. Can this return my funding? So rightfully so, yeah, it's not their money. They need to make returns. It's how to keep them alive.
Mm-hmm.
If climate entities and startups or sustainable, renewable startups are pushing social agendas first before business agendas,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them do, if you look them up and so, they won't succeed. And I disagree with others around me that invest in the space. And I also want to raise it in Angels Den VC program. I feel like it's going to be brave and bold and a bit scary, but you have to be bold, right? And go out there, figure out truths and learn truths and have people debate with you on things you agree with and disagree with. But yeah, others around me think it's good or worthwhile investing in these startups and entities in this space. And I put both my feet down and I say no, because before they sell the business, they sell an agenda, right? And maybe that framework is even wrong. I take that back, because Apple sells an agenda and, well, sense of brands. Yeah, brands. Yeah, maybe that's the truth there. If you can sell a brand or a vision, then that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the crux of it is they're just going about it the wrong way. And again, they're competing with institutions that have the space in like a headlock or in like a chokehold, if you want to call it whatever. And yeah, maybe 100 years and they succeed, but in the first 100 years, no. So bringing you back to the question, Adam, what do those around you strongly agree with, or like there's a big consensus? Adam's like, no, I don't agree with that, actually. I don't like that. I don't stand for that or with that. So is there a case or topic that you kind of push back on?
I would say I'm the type of person to look at small problems, like small fires before they become big fires. I personally think that while others think, yeah, it's important to focus on the biggest fires and then take those out first, I think that you should also think about ways to take out the small fires just as much. Currently, I think that. So we'll see how that goes in the next 5 years, if that changes, because when I always like to see how my thoughts change as well. But I personally think that if there's a way to kill 2 to 3 birds with one stone, it's definitely possible. I've done it in golf, so I know that for sure. But it's you can. There's a way to do it, and as long as you're willing to accept that you can find the way of knocking out 3 problems instead of just that one big problem, you can make it work. Whereas just figuring out how to do just one problem and then the next problem and the next problem after that. And I come from this with the perspective that playing when I was younger, I played two different sports, which were pretty much opposite. You have golf and then you have soccer, which football. In our country, we say football.
Yeah.
You're dealing on one side of the sport. You're dealing with playing with a team. It's loud. You have teamwork. You're competitive in that aspect where you're trusting others. But then on golf, it's you, the field. It's quiet, mostly. Unless you're in New York, then it's totally different. And then it's getting to that goal, but just you trusting in yourself to get to that goal. Whereas the other sport is you trusting your team and getting there with your team. And why I bring those two up are because they have both taught me to focus on one thing. But with golf, it wasn't. With golf, it was just that it was that one thing. But with soccer, it was the collective issues that I had to take care of in addition to just doing that one goal. So working with my team, being new to the team, and trying to build trust. I showed my athletic ability in that game to show that I can handle the position that I'm being played well in. Now it's just the team having to trust me, me being the new addition, and not always pass me the ball to get it. Sometimes I would take the ball and then pass it back, and then work with the team in showing them. Other times it would be the conflicts of being new to that team. So again, eventually those problems that you face can be worked out by themselves, yeah, but working them all out at once and making it possible can just be as effective as working out one problem and then getting there.
Interesting. So others around him, yeah, well, sometimes the consensus can be one problem at a time, crack it again and again, and next day. Adam on the other end is kind of saying, well, if you have problems, then yeah, things do happen and arise. Companies, startups, all that kind of stuff, their personal life problems can pop up. If you can crack 3 or 4 problems in a day, do that and keep pulling that player for again and again rather than one at a time. And so, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting, actually. You didn't expect that, anticipate that at all, but thanks for that, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you. It is the last question that we always ask. It is, if you, so far in your life, you're new to angel investing, but if you were to die tomorrow, what would be the one thing you would be proud of that provides?
Whoa.
It's getting serious now. But yeah, what would be that one thing that will provide others value that you are proud of that you did? It could be as simple or it could be as complex.
Easy. 17 Nexus, but it's early days. I've barely done enough, right? I haven't reached 100 episodes. I haven't reached 500 followers on social media, but I haven't done enough, right? And I need time to hopefully do that. And yeah, 6 months, 1 year. That's why I say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And it's funny, actually. So on my YouTube, so I do Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And funny enough, this is inspiration from Gary Vee himself. So shout out Gary Vee. I don't know if he'll watch this or listen to this.
He's awesome.
He does a lot of motivational thing, and YouTube has a cool, fingers crossed. But YouTube has a cool feature where you can go to your favorite channel, home, popular, and oldest videos, right? Even Spotify has it too. And one thing I've been doing and just drilling and learning, because free game is game. If you can go at the internet and it's out there, it's free game, right? Just go there, just learn, man. Use the internet to learn now more than ever. Harry Stebbins, his first episode, 2014, that's 2024. You look at greatness, people talk about 10,000 hours, just 10 years in a space and industry. North of that, you're amazing and great, right? When you start, you talk, people don't listen to you. maybe 10,000 hours or 10 years into it. LeBron James, you're looking at 20+ year career in the NBA, steps on the bloody court. People that still have to play defense and acknowledge him, right? He's one of the best and he's the highest scoring player in the NBA until he retires, he stops. But the tangent there is some of my favorite YouTubers, Gary Vee and a few other people. You press oldest and you see that the first video was like 10, 15 years ago in the past, right? With like 1 or 2K views. And Gary Vee's one's funny because he did Wine Vaynerchuk Media, Vayner Media or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like his oldest video, his first video on YouTube. Poor horrendous quality. But that's like 300K views and everyone in the comment section just trolling, saying, I think this guy will be great in 10 years time or so, and stuff there, right? And it's kind of funny, and it's like, well, because it's in one of his motivational videos, I have it saved on my phone, patience and hard work, right? And he was like, look, I'm 30 odd years of age, working in the wine thing. And I just said, screw it, I'm just going to start this YouTube thing and just see how it go and play the long-term game with it too. Jason Cowell, again, one of the best angel investors as well. He could join Sequoia or start his own VC firm, but he's still an angel. Mm-hmm. He's on episode like 2014 or so, or north of 2000 on Spotify. And it's like, he's been doing it for so long, YouTube and all that kind of stuff there, right? Mm-hmm. Harry Stebbins, he was 18 when he started 20 VC, knew nothing about it. $50 or so to start, get a podcast system, all that kind of thing running. Just cold emailing to say, hey guys, even to VCs as well. And he's like, hey, start a podcast. It would be great if I can get 20 minutes of your time. So that's where the name 20VC came from, right? For his thing. But yeah, sorry, that was a tangent there, Adam. But one thing I'd most be happy about as well is you kind of make it, it's a good point. You go university, do all these kind of stuff here, undergrads, postgrad at LSE, you work, and good money, all that kind of stuff there. But the thing I'll be most proud about now, and God forbid, man, damn touch wood, but if I was going to pass away tomorrow, I'll touch wood again. 17 Nexus, and only has like 30 odd followers and so, but I think the truth there is if you're able to find your calling in life, it's a blessing. I think all of us do have one as well, right? And I think most of us just neglect it and don't get drawn to it. And coming from Rick Rubin Creative Way of Being, it's a great book. You got to read it, right? I'd say the takeaway from the book there is there's 8 billion people in the world. There's a good chance someone in the world has the same idea as you. The only difference is execution, right? And just showing up and doing it. And it's like, well, the odds are simple. Will you do it or will they do it? And then with time, you'll see who does it. And yeah, happy for 17 Nexus. It's early days, early beginnings. It's not even 1 year in. So far, it's just 2 months in, right? It started last month, actually. So hopefully do it for a year, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. And it again ties into the conversation I had about creation and value creation and so, but maybe you have it yourself as well, Adam. But once you find your calling and stuff, you go from passion to obsession, right? And one thing I think angel investors should do is be able to differentiate what is a passion and what is an obsession. And you learn that through conversation, but also just trial and error and just seeing what people build, right? Those who are obsessed find a way. Those who are passionate, I say, well, do something great, but then they need to tap into motivation to help them do it. And then they go through wave cycles as well. But that's not to say as well that the obsessed person goes through it, but they go through it and keep going up and up like that. Whereas the person who's passionate will just go like this and maybe just plateau and eventually stop, right, over 5-10 years. And it's cringe, but I'll say it, coming from G-Eazy, achievement, come back in 5 years and we can talk about achievement, right? He said that in the song. And it's like, yeah, come back in 5 years, talk about it. If you, 17 Nexus as well, I'll say it here as well, bloody hell, I'll say it here right now. If nothing happens in 17 Nexus in the 5 years, then Kamani Williams was a bloody bum and I wasted time, not really a true angel investor, so he was a fake and a fraud. I created no value for society, but if we're still around in 5 years' time, 10 years' time or so, then hopefully I'm still creating value and adding value to society. So yeah, but proud of 17 Nexus, it's early days, lots more work to do and lots more opportunities and connections and all that kind of stuff to tap into. Happy for that, yeah. I'm glad I created that, yeah.
There we go. That's wonderful, Kamani. All right. So I guess we're going to finish off the episode here. So everyone, thank you again for listening to ImbueIt's podcast. It was great having you, Kamani. Kamani, where could everyone find you? Everyone can find 17 Nexus and learn more about what you do.
Yeah, so best place is probably Instagram, 17 Nexus, so 17 Nexus, NEXUS. So go there, you'll find that as well. Apple, Spotify, drop podcasts on there. The third episode actually is gonna be my deal memos on liquid pistons. So you're gonna see me kind of go through a walkthrough presentation. So I'll actually create one and be like, hey, this was the reason why I invested in them. And again, 2 days of just reading the advertisement on the newsletter. I just wrote it, but now I'm a bit more knowledgeable. I can actually provide a palatable deal memo to other angels. And yeah, that's gonna be a pretty crazy episode that drops. So there and yeah, Twitter, Substack, TikTok, it's all the same. Again, 17 Nexus, you'll find me. It's just a white logo with 17 Nexus, and yeah, you just see me rambling and hopefully just carry on doing great stuff. But yeah, that's where they can get me at.
Yeah, there we go. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, definitely DM us or even DM Kamani at 17 Nexus, even on Instagram, right? Yeah, on
Yeah.
Instagram or even on his newsletter. All right. Thank you for joining us. Have a safe one.